Good evening. Let's go out on a limb and close your eyes and imagine with me what we'll be doing or you'll be doing at the age of 89. Think of yourself walking across America from coast to coast, 3,200 miles, 100 miles of which you snow ski. It does sound unbelievable, and you can open your eyes now, but it is true inspirational story of a woman named Ethel Doris Haddock, also known as Granny D. At the beginning of her life in 1910, Ethel Doris Rollins, she dropped the Ethel and went by Doris, was born in Laconia, New Hampshire. She grew up in New Hampshire. She was very much her own woman. She went to Emerson College in Boston, where she was learning acting. In 1929, she married her husband James Haddock, secretly because she wanted to continue school, but the university found out and she was expelled. Her and Jim later on raised 2 children during the Great Depression. Doris was always active in her community. She believed in community involvement. Doris affected many lives with her own involvement and passion for change in her community. Her and James, or Jim, became involved in thwarting the plans to use hydrogen bombs in Alaska to build ports. President John heard of their activism and their involvement there as far as the environment goes, and the plans were rejected, thereby saving a small Alaskan village called Hope Point. Her most famous achievement that she's recognized for was in 1999, when at the age of 89, Granny D, her preferable name, did decide to walk from coast to coast from Pasadena, California to Washington, D.C. Her intent was to inform and impress upon Americans the need for campaign finance reform. Granny D felt very strongly against large corporations donating money to political campaign officials, basically large corporations running America. In 2003, Granny D journeyed a 2,200 mile trip around the country to encourage voter participation, especially with women and minority voters in swing states. And remarkably, in 2004, at the age of 94, Granny D elected to run for the Democratic Party in the New Hampshire Senate seat. Although she didn't win, she did gain 34% of the vote, and that's pretty remarkable for a 94-year-old woman. Granny D's passion and her grit and determination inspires me. Among others that she inspired are Senator John McCain, who remarked, "I believe she represents all that is good in America. She has taken up the struggle to clean up American politics. Granny D, you exceed my small, modest contribution. Those of us who have labored in the vineyards of reforms have made this earth. We are grateful for you." And former President Jimmy Carter remarked, "Doris Haddock is a true patriot, and our nation has been blessed by her remarkable life." And finally, Molly Ivins, a famous columnist, remarked, "The problem with Granny D is that she makes the rest of us look like schlumps." Granny D died at the grand age of 100 in 1910 in her home state of New Hampshire. Her legacy lives on by those people who are encouraged and inspired by her life. She did not always live by the rules, nor by others' expectations, but she did live by her convictions. She wanted a diplomatic country. She wanted a country in which the people ruled the country. To put it best, Granny D said, "We have a duty to look after one another. If we lose control of our government, then we lose our ability to dispense justice and human kindness. Our first priority today, then, is to defeat utterly those forces of greed and corruption that have come between us and our self-governance." I hope that you have been inspired as I have by this amazing woman. Her memoir is Never Too Old to Raise a Little Hell. Her message is to get involved. Get involved in your community and vote. Granny D knew what she was saying when she said, "Sometimes we have to make sacrifices to be heard." Have a good evening. Thank you very much.